Good evening, and welcome to Singlesations. This is part two of the discussion we started 2 weeks ago. Who is in your circle of influence? As you come in, please say hello to me in the chat so I can greet you appropriately. Make sure that you share this video. You know you have a girlfriend who has struggled connecting and making lasting friendships, and you know she needs to hear this video. So please share this, tag her in the comments so that all of us can join in the discussion. Good evening, and we will get started in just a few minutes. Hey Terry, I hope everybody had an awesome day. Good evening. Hey, Joya, you back? Good to see you, girl. Make sure you guys are sharing this video. And if you haven't already, please like my Singlesations page so that you can stay in the loop as to what's going on with Singlesations. Make sure you are able to join in the discussion tonight. We want to have some very active comments going on in the chat. Glad you are here. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. All right, good evening once again. My name is Ivy, and I am the creator and founder of Singlesations. And this is a platform that was created in order to give single women a platform to talk about all things being single and the challenges that we face on a daily basis. But tonight we are taking a break from talking about relationship stuff, and we are just going to talk about friendships and how they influence our lives and how they influence everything that is us. 2 weeks ago, we started this discussion, and we began by talking about the foundations of friendship and where we got our ideas about friends. And tonight we're going to take the conversation just a little bit deeper. So please make sure that you share this video. We want to make sure we get some other ladies to join in the conversation. It doesn't matter if you're married, if you're single, if you're divorced. It doesn't matter. We welcome all people tonight. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start and join the discussion. If you were here with us 2 weeks ago, you know that I had my best friend on, or one or two of my best friends. And just to introduce her again, she is Katrina Lee Jones. We met initially at Florida A&M University when both of us were students. We have been friends for over 27 years. She's currently one of the co-hosts of Point of View on Afrotainment through Comcast. And I'll let her say anything else she wants to say about herself. So I at this time would like to present to some and introduce to others one of my best friends, Katrina Lee Jones.
Hello, hey, girl. What's up, child? You might see somebody walking in the background. That's my daughter's friend. They're about to go somewhere. So pardon me.
What's had to turn my. Hey, girl. Good to see you. You look so cute.
Am I too loud?
No, I had to turn up my volume. It was a little bit low. Ladies in the chat, please let us know if the volume is okay. We want to make sure that everybody is able to hear what we have going on tonight. Hey, Rakisha Deshawn. Good to see you.
Yeah, what'd you say?
That's my other best friend, y'all. What you say, Katrina?
Oh, I said, what did you want me to say? You say you want me to introduce myself or something like that?
Yes. Anything additional you want to say aside from what I have already said? Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah. I think you said I'm on Point of View on Comcast, and the people in North Florida most definitely can watch me if you have Comcast. On 1623, we come on every day, Monday through Thursday at 6:30, and then we have a replay at 10. And on Friday, we are on Facebook Live at noon. So if you have Facebook, you go to either Point of View page or Afrotainment. That's where we share that. And actually, we have started this week to go live for one of our segments. So if you follow any of those pages, or even if you like me or we're friends on Facebook, you will be able to see it for the notification. But I also am a entrepreneur as well. I have my own business. I do custom closets. I shop for a living. I am a costume designer. I tell people I'm just a jack of all trades, but I do all things well, darling. All things well.
Yes, definitely all things fashion. She does well. I definitely will give that to her. Absolutely. And please shout her out. Follow her on Instagram and also Facebook at Styles by Katrina. And I promise she will hook you up.
I will. We'll have fun doing it. I promise you we'll have fun doing it.
Yes. So let's get into our conversation tonight. So part 2 of who is in your circle of influence. And really that question is rhetorical. That's not a question that we're going to specifically answer in this conversation, but it's just as we go throughout the discussion, it's for you to answer on a personal basis as to who is in your circle of influence and really analyze if they even need to be in that circle of influence. So just something to think about as we go through this discussion. So one of the things I thought about today as I was kind of writing down some notes for this discussion, Katrina, is that friendships, I think we will both agree, are definitely rewarding, but I believe that they are as much rewarding as they are challenging. And so in them being challenging, and I want to say that tonight's question for you ladies in the chat, and we're going to come back to this a little later, is how do you know when you've outgrown a friendship? So that's something I want you ladies to think about. How do you know when you've outgrown a friendship? And we're going to come back and answer that question at the end of our discussions. But the first thing we're going to talk about, and we kind of alluded to this a couple weeks ago, is about friends can be for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so with that statement in mind, I want to start by asking this question. How do you determine whether a friend is for a reason, a season, or a lifetime? And I think before, we can even attempt to answer that question, we have to kind of break down, those 3 terms, a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So let's start with reason. So a friendship for a reason, Katrina, how would you define that?
Well, it could be, I can define it different ways, but for me, I would think about a friendship for a reason. If you are in a friendship and there is something that you need to learn from that friendship, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, because sometimes you need to learn certain things in a friendship or what to do better or your growth in life as well. So somebody can be in your life for a particular reason. When it comes to, growth, even, I don't know, I would just say growth. Basically, somebody can be in your life for that reason, for you to grow, or to even maybe recognize something that's in you that you denied. So that friendship, you can be in that friendship for a reason. That's what I think a reasonable friendship is.
Okay. So I agree, but I want to expand on that just a little bit, because when I think about a friend for a reason, it's like, I believe that the connection itself happens for a particular reason, meaning that we connect because we have this particular project in mind, or we have similar interests. Maybe we're a part of the same organization, or maybe we go to the same church. But if you remove that stimuli from the situation, would we really be friends?
Okay. And that's a different
So
perspective too. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, because some people, if you go to church with, if you didn't go to church with them, you're probably not going to be their friends if you decided to move on to another church or you move on to another city as well. And that's just like colleagues at work as well. So,
exactly.
they're just your friends for a reason, why, because y'all at work, but I would really want to have them outside of work.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
never understood, especially from the church perspective, how you can appear to be really close with someone that
Hmm.
you go to church with or work with, but as soon as you decide to leave that church or you get
Right.
transferred and go to a different job, that relationship is over. And it really
Yeah.
sometimes have you, questioning whether the friendship was even, valid. But it
Legit, or
was
was it a
valid
real
for,
friendship? Hmm.
say again.
Yeah. Was it legit or was it a real friendship?
Well, it was because it was for a reason. But I
Oh,
think
okay.
when we try to bridge friendships and make reason friendships and season friendships lifetime,
Together.
that's when it
Mhm.
becomes difficult.
Yeah.
So let's talk about friendships for a season.
I
So
can
I think,
hear. I think I clocked out a little bit. Or
can you hear me now?
yeah. Hmm.
All right. So when you have friendships for a season, I think those friendships are for a specific time.
Hmm.
It's for a specific time and it's to teach a lesson or to help through a particular issue. And
Yeah,
again,
and
and
seasons could
again,
be very long.
yeah, seasons can definitely be very long. And
Mhm.
some point, seasonal friendships can appear to be lifetime friendships until you
Mhm.
realize that whatever held you guys together is over and then there's no commonality.
Mhm. That
Yeah.
season is ended.
It sounds like there's a little bit something behind uh, what you're saying. Is there something you want to share or no?
Mhm. 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 I mean, it happens sometimes. You're right, and I mean, I can't deny you're right. Sometimes you are in a friendship, and it seems like that friendship is going to be a lifetime, and it ends up being for a season, and that's why I said a season or a long time. It could be, a 15, 20 year, relationship or whatever it is. But when it's time for it to end, it ends.
Yeah,
So after you may not realize it while you're going through the breakup, because I tell people, when you have a friend, if you've been with a friend for 15 years, been with a friend, you have a friend for 20 years, it's a hard breakup. And
hmm,
people are like, oh no, everybody needs to start being honest, because when you thought this person was a lifetime friend, and when it ends, it is a hard breakup. I mean, you
right,
feel some type of way about this person, and you do. And I mean, and I've been through it. It is a hard breakup. I mean, but eventually you get over it. You work through it, and after maybe a year or so later, you see that, okay, well, this friendship, I guess this friendship was a season, and now that season has ended. Not meaning that you're not still friends with the person, but you're not close like you used to be. You know what I mean?
right,
So yeah, and it does hurt too. I think as women, we should stop saying like, I'm good. No, it hurts when you go through a breakup with a friend that you've had for a very long time.
right. And I think
Mhm.
even to validate your point even more is seasonal friendships tend to catch us in our most vulnerable moments.
Mhm.
So, you've, allowed yourself to be exposed, in the
Yeah.
presence of that person. And so they pretty much know things about you that, other people don't know
Other people
because
don't know.
because y'all
Exactly.
share, that connection. And then it's like, the relationship was just ripped.
Mm.
So anything that's ripped or that is torn apart, the edges are going to be jagged.
Yeah.
So
And it
it's not
does
going
for a while. It is for a while. People need to we need to own that and recognize and acknowledge that. Because I think that some women, when we're in friendships and they end, if it's even your reason that the friendship ended, their reason that the friendship ended, or a divine reason that the friendship ended, I think some of us are in denial of how that affects you.
yeah,
I can, and then it's like some people, you have friendships and you've done some dirt with and all this other stuff, and you know how sometimes when you get out of friendships and the dirt that you do, they almost sometimes want to tell other people the dirt that you do. I mean,
right.
so it's like, ooh, so how does that works? And I'll make fun. I make fun because I had a long friendship, and I say, oh yeah, she divorced me, honey, and I was like, oh yeah, she divorced me, and I say it all the time because I just wouldn't have done it. That's the type of person I am. You know that I'm friends. You can see yourself drifting apart from a
Yeah,
person, but just going like, oh, I think that our friendship is going a different way, or whatever weirdness that comes along with it. I just wouldn't have done that because sometimes friendships go through waves as far as you may not be talking to each other as much. Your life may be busy. You may have so many things going on that you really don't have time, nor will you make the time to talk to a friend or go out to lunch. And that's probably how I would have taken it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
yeah.
busy with my children, and I'm married at the time or going through whatever, and then you're busy with yours. So just figure like, oh well, we'll catch up, whenever we can. We'll touch base, whatever. But it happens. I mean, I'm still here. I survived.
You survived, girl.
I
We're gonna talk
did.
about
I
that.
did.
I want you to go a little bit deeper with that particular relationship in
I
just a
did.
second. But
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned about lifetime friendships go through
Hmm.
seasons. So
Hmm.
even though it's a lifetime friendship, we
Yeah.
can experience varying seasons
Yes.
within the lifetime relationship. I mean, because just take you and I, even Rakisha, who's in the chat,
Hmm.
we've gone through,
Hey,
different,
Keisha.
we've all gone through different things. And I think it's so
Hmm.
funny how my two best friends have been married and have kids, and I appear to be the anomaly in the situation. But
Yeah.
even with that, because you ladies experience things in your life that I haven't, it was
Hmm.
definitely an adjustment, for me. But
Hmm.
I think I handled it, pretty well. I think both of you can say, and Keisha, you can confirm for me in the chat. If I'm lying, you can call me out. I give you permission. But one of the things that, I pride myself, especially when both of you ladies were married, I never said anything negative about your husbands while you were
At
married with
all.
them. Now, after you guys
Yeah.
divorced, that's a different story. But
But you know what? To be honest with you, now I don't know about for Keisha, but even with me, you still don't even really say a lot of negative things now. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if you really ever said anything negative. I think that you've spoken your observation and the truth of the matter. So I don't ever recall you saying anything negative that wasn't true.
mhm.
So you know, the truth
Yeah,
is the truth. Good, bad, or ugly, or indifferent is the truth.
right.
So
But
you still hadn't done that. For
yeah.
me, I would say for me.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that was important for me because, first of all, I never wanted to be a stumbling block in anyone's marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, and especially coming from the viewpoint that I've never been married, I can't
Mm-hmm.
speak on, something that I had not personally experienced, to some degree. Now, I believe, I can give, pretty decent advice because I'm God inspired, when
Mm-hmm.
I do, encourage my friends. But, I just made a conscious decision never to speak ill about you ladies' marriage or your
Mm-hmm.
husbands.
Yeah,
Um,
you
in
you
addition,
haven't.
Yeah, in addition to that, even when both of you had children, that was another, dynamic to the situation, because it meant, not only you had a husband, but you had children, and then you still had jobs, and you was running a household. So you guys had so much, going on, that there would be weeks and sometimes months where, we did not, communicate. But
Yeah.
I never questioned whether our friendship was on the rocks or not, because I
Right.
knew that we had a bond
Mm-hmm.
regardless of, the
Us
situation.
talking every day.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got
Yeah.
time for that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's too needy of a friendship. I don't need no friend like that.
Yeah. You really have to know, who you are, and you have to know your friends as well, and trust, in the relationship that you guys have.
Yeah,
And even,
absolutely.
so we've been through marriages, we've been through divorces, we've been through, birth,
Birth, yes.
graduations, and then I think, with the three of us, even all of that, I think the toughest thing all three of us have ever been through was losing our mom. I
Yeah.
would I would venture to say that would probably be the number one
Yeah.
thing that we've all experienced. And so you learn how to take on these different roles
Mm-hmm.
and be, what your friend needs
Need
at
at
the
that time.
time that they
Yeah,
need
but
it.
you can make mistakes too now.
Yeah, absolutely.
During those
Absolutely.
times, you can make mistakes too. For
Yeah.
sure.
So, and yeah, no, absolutely. Nobody is perfect. And I think, you make mistakes, and your friend tell you, now, girl, now, wait a minute. Now,
Yeah, yeah, child. You
you
will
know
do
that
that
wasn't
now.
right. That was jacked up.
Yeah, you will
So,
do that.
yeah. What? What you just said?
Yeah, you will do that. You like,
Um,
girl, bye.
let's go
Ain't
in the
nothing
chat.
today.
I see some really good comments before we continue. So Lisa
Yeah,
said
you
that
got a lot of comments.
lifetime friendships tend to have a spiritual connection outside of the church building, but it's more of a covenant relationship. Jonathan and David are an example. Absolutely, because I 100% agree. My sister then wrote a book. And Terry says, I met a wonderful young lady named Rochelle while at an event, and we began to talk about family life, and she shared that she was a nurse and offered her assistance to me while I was a caregiver for mom. She encouraged me, prayed for me, and even availed herself to allow me a few hours of respite here and there. This relationship lasted for about 6 months. It was such a blessing. That is awesome. It's just so amazing how God knows, what we
You know
need,
what you
who we
need.
need, and when we need them. So that
Yep.
was so amazing that, God allowed that reason, friendship for that period of time where you needed that. Terry, thank you for sharing that. Lisa says, and some seasoned friendships last the equivalent of seasoning in greens. um,
Okay.
Joya said, yes, 30 years, a long season, I realized. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Oops. Keisha said, you are right, but you always kept it 100 in a nice way. I tried, y'all. It was hard sometimes because I had some opinions. I had to like, oh, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that.
Yeah, you did it. You
Because,
did it. You
yeah,
tried. You
because
didn't try. You did it for sure.
but the thing about it is when you recognize that your friends are already going through hell,
Mm-hmm.
you putting
Like,
salt in the
don't add
wound.
gasoline to the
You
fire.
putting salt in the wound or adding gas to the fire is not going to
Mm-hmm.
help the situation. So you really have to be mindful of when you say certain things and how you say certain things
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
certain situations.
Yeah, I agree. Don't add fuel to the fire.
Right. And then
Absolutely.
lastly, Lisa says, I had a friend who basically left the friendship because she had an issue with how I was handling a situation. But I told her no longer being a friend was a very acceptable loss, and I was good with it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's the thing about it too. And
Yeah,
Lisa,
my
thank you for
girl.
bringing that up, because people have to realize that, you can give someone your opinion, you can give someone advice, but we
Mhm.
are adults. And ultimately the road I take and the decisions I make is totally
Are
up to me.
my decision. Mhm.
And so, it's just like, if I make a wrong decision, I don't need you coming behind me, girl, I told you shouldn't have did that.
Right.
So,
Girl, no, you didn't. Yeah,
all
you're
right.
right.
So, what do you do when the season is up?
Mm.
Ladies in the chat, what do you do when you realize that the season of a friendship is up?
I, it's difficult to get to that place, especially when you believe it's a lifetime friend. Some
Mm-hmm.
people you already know are reason and seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of sense that, oh well, this not gonna last very long, we're just gonna, whatever reason it is, you say, Lord, reveal it to me and let me just go ahead and do what I have to do, because you could be that person that's a blessing in their life. If it's a reason, a season doesn't always have to be the person blessing you. You could be that person. And I think it's difficult when that happens, but I think you need to just accept it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to accept it. Don't force, the friendship. And I think a lot of us like to force the friendship. So we try to plan brunch. We try to plan like, oh, well, let's get together. Let's do this. Let's go shopping, or, let's just go to dinner. Let's do this on Saturday. Get our nails done and yada 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 yada. And it's being forced. And when it's forced, it just doesn't even feel good,
Yeah.
anymore. It's like, I don't even, what are we going to talk about? Because it sometimes the conversation are disjointed. Sometimes you don't even really know what to talk about, because at this point you really don't want to talk about anything really really personal, and it just
Mm-hmm.
becomes awkward. So I think you just should accept it and go through your grieving period and move on.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah,
Ladies in
I
the
think it just,
chat, I'm sorry, you were going to say something else?
no, no, no. I was looking at the chat too. No, you're fine.
Oh, okay. Ladies in the chat, what are you saying? How do you know when the season of a relationship is up? And I agree totally with what Katrina is saying. I mean, you pretty much know when it's coming, when it's
Mhm.
the benediction is being is being sung over
Yeah,
your
put that finger.
friendship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Mhm.
think I think the struggle is when we think, or when we thought that a lifetime friendship is actually seasonal, or
Mhm.
for a reason. We try to
Yep.
make, people stay in our lives longer. And it's the same thing
Mhm.
as in relationships, with, significant others, when
Yep.
you know it ain't right, and
You know
you're
it's
trying
time to go.
to, huh?
You know it's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to go. The relationship is not fruitful. You guys are not benefiting, one another. One person is doing more giving than receiving, and vice versa. It's time to say, okay, we need to cut our losses, because you end
Mhm.
up hurting each other more than you're helping one another staying together.
Right. Ivy, who was this your cousin talking about? He had a crush on me. Who that is?
My cousin Peter. You know who Peter is.
Oh, he's talking about, oh, I was married now. Oh, that we went to his house with your mom and stuff, right?
In Orlando, yes.
Oh, who is that?
Peter,
What's up?
you will not be professing your admiration for Katrina in the middle of my life, sir.
It's too late. He already did. Your cousin already did that. Talking about he being nosy. Look at his comments. Talking about he being nosy. And
That's
he
all
talking
right.
about,
You
oh
can
my
be
God.
nosy. Thank you for
That's
coming
right.
in, cuz I appreciate you.
Share on your page. How about that?
That's right. Share on your page, Peter. So let's
So
read
funny.
some of the answers in the chat. Let's see. Lisa, Ivy, that's what a friend does. Understand where your friends are in life. And then Lisa said that her friend was on marriage number 5. Girl, bye. She also agrees with you, Katrina. A forced friendship isn't authentic. Keisha says, I agree totally, Katrina. Bow out gracefully.
You can have
Julia
it.
says, yes, when it becomes strained, it should be ended. Um,
It should be.
yeah. And Misha says that friendships must be balanced. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We talked about
So,
that too this weekend.
mhm,
Last weekend, rather, not this weekend. Last weekend,
yeah.
balancing friendships. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it comes over time, when I think friendships have the ability to grow, but they also have the ability to evolve, as
Mm-hmm.
well. Because I think if your relationship is the same as it was 10 years ago, then it needs to be evaluated.
Yeah.
you
No,
know
that's true. Facts, for real.
why are you guys still forcing something that's obviously over? And then
Mm-hmm.
you could be keeping yourself from a divine connection that God has designed for you because you're holding on to what is familiar.
Mm-hmm. And that's in relationships too.
Yeah. A
You
lot of
holding on to that thing, and you can't even get what the Lord has for you because you dealing with somebody else, child. I don't know.
All
That's in
right.
relationships too.
Have a question. Lisa says, what are your thoughts with a male as a best friend?
I have one. I have one,
Who?
and I got what 2017 CL.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
CL. You don't know it, but I
Uh-huh.
love
I have
him.
I have one. I have one. The Lord gave him to me, and the funny thing is we had met 6 years prior to that because we're both in the fashion industry. But he does custom suiting, and he came back up in my spirit when I needed some help with my show. So he came to my show, which I used to do style check on the same channel, and people were doing their best to put us in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
because they thought, oh my God, you all chemistry is so wonderful. And look how he looks at you and this and that, and that. And it was like, that's not our relationship.
Yeah.
He was dating someone that he had been dating for 6 years, and now he's married. But I consider him to be my best male friend. He
Yeah.
shows up for me. He shows up for my children. When I have Sage's graduation party, if anything I have for my children, if he's in town, he's there. We go over to their home. I mean, before him and his wife got into their new house. Listen, I'm walking through their house with them, their new place, before anything is decorated. Like I'm with them. And she treats me like her sister because she knows her husband loves me. And she knows her husband loves me like his sister. So yeah, you can have a male best friend, and I have a really good male best friend. I mean, if you watch the show anytime, that's my dude for real,
Yeah.
like for real. And we
Yeah.
show up for each other, period.
And
And
it's
he
funny.
prays for me too. And he prays for me too. And if the Lord tell him to say something, he gonna call me too and say that too. So I'm like, and the same thing with him as well. So yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
funny because before I met him, I saw you guys dynamic, on the
Mm-hmm.
show. and it was absolutely hilarious. It's like they're the male and female versions of each other, honestly. And I
Yes.
did, yeah, I did see the chemistry, but it was nothing romantic,
No,
about
it's
it.
not.
Yeah, it was more so of an admiration. You guys really admire each other. And I
Yeah,
don't think, and even,
absolutely.
yeah, whether it's a male female friendship or a female female friendship, I think
Hmm.
admiration is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I admire you. I admire Keisha. Um, I think you ladies are amazing, have amazing strength. It's demonstrated in different ways. But I
Mhm.
don't think there's anything wrong with you admiring your friend.
You're friends. No,
You
and
know,
I know I admire you as well.
because I think when you don't, you take advantage.
Hmm.
It's like, my pastor says, it was, what if you don't appreciate something that exits your life? And I
That's good.
truly believe that if
Believe
you
that.
don't
Yeah.
give praise where praise is due, if you don't admire somebody, if you don't treat people the way they deserve to be
Hmm.
treated, if you allow the relationship to get stale and complacent, trust me,
Right.
if you don't appreciate, somebody else will appreciate. And that goes for your friendships as well.
Yep. I agree with that for sure.
I have I do agree with you. I think a female and a male can be best friends,
Mhm.
with the caveat that they have not been sexual. I
Yes,
think I
absolutely.
think
Oh, because
yeah,
sex changes the game, honey.
exactly, because I
Oh
think that
yeah, sex changes the game.
so
Totally.
all of these people who say they dated somebody, um and then after they dated for 6 months, a year, but they were intimate, oh, we real good friends. No, once somebody has seen you naked, you never gonna be just friends.
That's done.
I
Yeah.
don't care what
Mm-mm.
anybody says. So
I
yes,
agree.
a male and a female can be friends, but if y'all have seen each other naked, no ma'am and no sir. Because
Mm-mm.
there's always, even though they can say, one person can say that they are over it, more than likely
One of
one
them want to be
person
in
one
one.
person is always going to feel some type of way about
Hmm.
you being with somebody who's not them. I don't care what you say,
Yep.
even if they don't want you,
Hmm. They're gonna
even
feel a
if
certain
they,
type of way. Yep.
yes, and that's a
Hmm.
whole nother life.
Whole nother life. And people, hey, that's a whole nother life, and people need to stop living the lies. Okay? Stop it. That
Absolutely,
is not, they're
absolutely,
not, that is a no-go.
yeah,
That's a no-go. See, and I would never do that. That's being in denial. That's being foolish. That's being immature. That's being silly. Now you are not that dude best friend, because if you dating somebody, male or female, so when you introduce him or her to your best friend, and when they start digging a little bit more, and then I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, we used to date a few years back, and then it's like, oh well, y'all, did the do, and he was like, yeah. Oh well, you can't be that person friend.
right,
Like, you can't be that person friend. Then people like, oh, I can't. No, you can't be that person friend when y'all used to do the do. Like, no, that's not it. Can't do it.
yeah,
It's not cool. I wouldn't even want to do. I wouldn't even want to move into a next relationship, introduce somebody to a best friend that I had sex with.
yeah, because even
Mm-mm.
even if you can do it, the person that you with is going to have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna
So
have a
it's,
problem with it.
yeah.
If it
Yeah,
were
so
me, no, you can't be her friend, bruh. You used to sleep with
exactly.
her. You talking about be her best friend, boy? Bye. Go on,
Uh-uh.
I'll be like, go on over there with her, and y'all be friends, and I'll see y'all later.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Lisa Lisa says I have I have perfected separating emotions. Yeah, that could be true, but that other person, you can't speak
It
for them.
may not. Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's a slippery slope. And I think sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're talking about seriously moving forward and being, in a relationship with someone new, I believe it's good to just cut your ties all together and start afresh. Don't have, any connections nowhere. Even if you're not connected, you don't want them to have the access, even on a friendship level. That's just, my personal, advice and the mantra that I live by, because I can guarantee you nobody who has seen me naked is my friend today.
Don't be texting me. Don't be calling me. I can probably give you a number to a therapist, but baby, that's all I can do for you.
Yeah.
I'm not her.
Lord, I said I was going to be better about this time tonight, but the
Oh my
conversation.
God, yeah, because we're already at 42 minutes.
The conversation gets so good. So, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but I kind of want to close the loop about what is the most difficult situation you've encountered with a friend, and how did you handle it, and what was the end result. So I want
that's what you're trying. That's what you want me go back to that other conversation, girl.
Yes, just touch on it just a little bit, and kind of bring a resolution. Let's just bring that thing.
Girl, listen. So the most difficult I've had in a relationship with what I was talking about earlier, when you have a friendship that you think is a lifetime that ends up being a season. And when a friend comes to you and say you're not a good friend, because of, A, B, and C, or if I'm the one that gives, you're the one that always receiving, and things like that. When a person comes to you and say all of that, and when you know that you're not that way, and bring up situations that happened maybe like you've been friends for 20 years now, so keep that in mind. So something that happened 5, 6, 7 years ago, or 8 years ago, or 10 years ago, you're like, well, where's all this coming from? That's been harboring, all of that time. So when that happened to me, I was very disappointed, because I could sense something was going on. I could sense that we were pulling apart as a friendship, because you can just sense it. But like I said, I wouldn't be the one to say, oh, well, I'm done. I would have just probably let it drifted away and kind of be done with it that way. So when that person came to me and said all of this stuff, and they just wanted to say it and leave it at that. And me, I felt like I'm not going to do that. We've been friends for over 20 years. We need to have a conversation, and we need to have a conversation, because I needed to have closure for myself, because I didn't want it to always to be, if I saw you in a grocery store, if I saw you somewhere, that we would be drifting, and we wouldn't be, people probably would notice, like, oh, what happened to them? Because they used to be together all the time. They did these things together. Their children grew up together. So I needed to have a conversation, because I thought that our friendship needed that end. If it was going to be the end, like I said, I wasn't going to force it, but I just needed to have a conversation with you to say, like, where all this stuff is coming from, and why at this point in the juncture that you decided to end our friendship. So I did. I had that conversation. She wanted to end it another way. I was like, nope. Well, I know where you live. So I went to her home, and I stood out. I waited outside till she got there. And I don't even know how long I waited, but I think I was about to leave. And then, she pulled up, and, I went in her home, and we had a conversation. And after that conversation, I said, okay, if you feel like our friendship is not what you thought, or is not what you expected it, or I was such a bad friend for over 20 years, and you don't want to continue in our relationship, I said, okay. And I just said I needed to have closure, because it's important. You don't just walk away and don't have a conversation with a person that you've had a friendship with for over 20 years. So that was my closure. So when we had the conversation, I said it was okay. And I went through my grieving process, because, you were there for the birth of my child. I was there for the birth of yours, and marriage, divorce, my mom's death, and, just a lot of things. that
Mhm.
this person was in my life for. So, and it was then that I'm like, all right, that's it. And
Yeah.
I didn't force it. So I couldn't do anything about it. When somebody doesn't want to be your friend, that's like when somebody doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, you should let it go.
Yeah.
You'll have peace eventually. So just let it go.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I
Oh, girl, I done turned my light off. Wait a minute. Head going down.
well, I'll talk while you getting your lighting
My
situation
light
together.
situated. All right.
So, a couple of weeks ago, when we had the first part, I alluded to a situation I had personally as well, where I have a friend that I've been friends with since seventh grade, and we've gone
Mm,
through these seasons where all is well, we good to go, and then just all of a sudden, without any type of notice, we've gone through these seasons where she just stopped talking to me for a year, and then we'll talk. She'll pop back up like nothing has ever happened, and we'll pick up where we left off. And I will say that it was my fault that I had allowed that continue for such a
mm-hmm,
long time,
mm-hmm.
because after the second or third instance, I should have said, hey, what is up with this? So when I moved here to Charlotte in 2016, it happened again, and I had not heard from her or talked to her until she popped up at my mom's wake, and it
Mm,
was absolutely awkward.
mm.
And she didn't even say, anything to me at the wake, So, and after that, I never heard from her again. And then a year and a half later, she reached out to me 2 months ago. So I'm in a very
Mm,
peculiar spot, because part of me does not want to deal with it. But the other
mm,
part of me knows that I need to bring closure,
mm.
to that situation, because at this point, I can't allow, that to keep hanging on when
Yeah.
it's obvious that that relationship has not been fruitful for over 5 years.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I'm really, y'all be praying for me, because I'm really, and because she's experienced a personal tragedy over the past month as well. So I'm really trying to figure out what's the best recourse in this
Right, right,
situation,
right.
and how to
Yeah.
handle it. I want to handle it delicately, and I want to be sensitive, to what she's going through. But
She's
at the same
experiencing
time,
what she's going through. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I want to acknowledge that she's reached out, and that she's, made an attempt to try to rekindle, the relationship. So there's a lot of layers involved. And I'm sure if she
Mm-hmm.
sees this video, we're not friends, but stranger things have happened. And she could see this video, and well, my work would be done at that
Well,
point.
yeah. Yeah, but we don't. I mean, the public doesn't know who you're
Yeah.
talking about, and even with the situation with me, if they know, they know, and I understand that you need to get closure to this, and because to me, we talked about it when we celebrated your birthday,
Hmm.
last weekend. Friendship goes both ways.
Yeah.
I love and adore you, and I'm going to be there for you no matter what. And we have a friendship where when you do things, I'm like, I don't agree with that. And I'm like, and I get my little old thing like, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm going to support you because you're my friend, and I'm not going to be judgmental. But then you have to think about, I don't know what she's gone through, but now, so when you go through something, did you feel like she wants to just contact you because she knows you have a calm strength um that I know that I need, because me, I'm always jumping off the. always jumping off the trees and everything else. And, that's just my personality, but you have a calm strength that when we're together, I can see that, I'm just a little bit more even keel, but not saying that I'm not myself, because our
Mm-hmm.
friendship allows that. So you have to think about, I know you want to handle it with grace, but you have to think about why all of a sudden that you are contacting me now. So do you need my comfort, you need my wisdom, but if we've been friends since 7th grade, it's like that you ain't that busy, girl,
Right.
that you can call me in 5 years and just show up when I'm going through it. That's not support. So I
Yeah.
understand that you need closure, and that's why we just talked about I needed closure in my situation, and that's why I had to have the conversation. I'm not doing no, we're gonna have it now. So we can be gone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's
Yeah.
check in with the ladies in the chat. So Terry says, I had a friend for several years and she shared personal info with one of my coworkers that was a friend of hers. I confronted her and she lied. So for me, I had to snip, snip, cut, cut.
Mm.
Lisa says, the most difficult thing I encountered as a friend was honoring an agreement to bury them if they should become terminally ill. 21 years later, I had to fulfill the commitment. It was heartbreaking, and I only could share the feelings with God. And then Courtney says, that's why I have to check in because I don't mean to, but I'll be so consumed with my world, and I don't even realize how long it's been since I spoke to someone. Well, and that's good that you have, that realization
It's
as well.
intentional. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, oh my God, ladies, this has been absolutely, absolutely amazing. Before we go, I have a closing remark. Something that I read from Dr. Matthew Stevenson's page a couple of weeks ago, and it's titled "The Principle of Initiation." And I think this brings everything that we've talked about and kind of summarizes it very well. He said to pay attention in any relationship on if the initiation is equal. If you're the first to call, the first to show up, the first to schedule, the first to apologize, there is a problem. Initiation communicates priority, the language of investment, and it expresses value. We owe each other equal effort. I think
Equal.
that is absolutely powerful. So when you
Mm-hmm.
think about ladies, the very first question, that we ask, which has been the topic of these discussions for the last 2 weeks, who is in your circle of influence? When you think about the people who have the ability to influence you and what you do, think about that statement that I just read. And who's always initiating?
Yep.
Are you always the first? Are you all? Or do you find yourself giving all the time and never being deposited into? Because at some point, you're gonna be in the red, sis. You can't continue
Gonna
to
be tired, ain't it?
give all the time and never receiving.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good place to be. We all need to be deposited into at some point.
Yeah.
Initiation communicates priority. It is the language of investment. You are worth it. You are
Yep.
worthy of somebody putting you first. You
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't always have to, be the person who's putting other people's feelings and other people's issues above your own. You
Right.
deserve to be put first at some point. You deserve for someone to invest into you sometimes. You deserve to have someone being intentional and putting as much effort in you as you are putting into them. And
Yep.
if you find, and trust me, relationships, friendships go through seasons where you may
Mm-hmm.
be the one giving all the time because your friend is at a place where she just can't do it. Maybe
Right.
she's experiencing depression. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
she's going through things where, she just lost her mom, or,
Mm-hmm.
she's going through problems in her marriage. So I'm not talking about seasons. I'm talking about consistent behavior.
Ooh, bomb,
I'm talking
bomb, drop
about
it.
consistent behavior. So
Yeah.
if what I just said defines your relationship, it's going to hurt. But for
Mm-hmm.
the betterment of your sanity and your peace, cut the relationship off.
Do yeah, and then you know what? Our time is up, but maybe we should talk about. We should. I know we should think about this as well. What about those friendships or those people that you thought were your friends, but because out of sight, out of mind, since they don't see you or communicate with you as much, you don't get invited to the parties or get invited to the outings. And then, I mean, maybe we can talk about that. And what about those friends that don't invite you because you used to be at a certain place financially, but maybe you're not there anymore because you're not sharing everything that's going on in your life. And so when they decide to plan, the vacation or little outings, they just assume that you can't go because maybe financially they think like, oh, maybe she can't handle it right now. But you know how to spell assumptions, don't you? Uh do you know how to spell assumptions, don't you? So don't do that. Don't make a whole ass of yourself about not wanting to invite me or do anything like that because you don't think that I have the funds to do it. Just if I don't want to do it, just let me tell you no. But you can tell, and that's another sure sign too about friendships drifting and kind of like they're kind of dwindling as well
Yeah.
because it shouldn't be like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You wanted to celebrate your birthday. You called me over a month ago. You said, "Hey, I want to do this," and you said, "Well, check your calendar." I'm like, "Well, let me put it in now." And then I had some other stuff come up, and I was like, "Wait a minute, these dates sound the same." And when I text you, I said, "Ivy, when are your dates?" And you said this, and I said, "Oh, girl." I said I had just scheduled. I was about to schedule some other stuff, but I was like, "Oh no, 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 no." Let me cancel this right now because my best friend told me like over a month ago, honey. I said she probably ain't gonna even talk to me if she called me and say you on your way, and I'd be like on my way where?
Yeah.
So I mean, it. I don't have to be in your face all the time, but if you want to do something special or you want to do something, you don't forget about me.
Yeah.
You don't forget about me. You're going to ask me first, and if I can't do it or if I don't have the money to do it, then you say, okay, but I just wanted to make sure that I invite you.
Exactly. I mean,
And
and I
that's that
think,
two-way equal, that's that equal thing going on. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Don't be want to be with friends with me because I'm hot, you know what I'm saying? Or because I'm on TV, or when you see me do stuff, and when the Lord take me to this whole new place, don't be calling me then. What you calling me for now? No, I'm not taking you to the image with me. No, I'm not taking you to this party with me. No, I'm not about to take you because I'm about to do, this movie star custom closet. No, I'm not taking you. I got a whole staff, boo, and you ain't a part of it. So now you
Yeah.
want to come? Girl, bye.
Yeah. And it's
Mm-mm.
important. And I think, just to close things out, because my two best friends are not in Charlotte with me. But
No.
when you have a true friendship, and remember this, and somebody type this in the chat because this is good. This is God inspired what I'm getting ready to
Mm.
say.
Go ahead, girl. Wisdom. Come on down.
So location should never change someone's position in your life. Someone's
Hey,
location should never change their position in your life. And if it does, you don't have a friend, you have a fan.
Amen. Oh, well, I must have got a lot of fans then. Already.
You got a lot of fans. So,
Oh my God. That's good, Ivy.
yes,
Amen.
location should never change someone's position in your life
That's
because
good.
it doesn't matter. Again, initiation communicates priority. It's the language of investment, expressed value. So regardless of what you have in your hand, whether it's $5 or 50 cents, that's not going to change my perspective about who you are. And that goes a long way, with your man too, because those relationships, as we've said, go through seasons. He could go from 6 figures to barely making 5. Is your idea of him going to change just because of what he has? That's a whole nother conversation. I am going to stop talking.
I know, because we do this. We do this on the phone too. Now tell the people now. Yeah, we do this on the phone too. We're like, girl, okay, then bye. I'll talk to you later. And then we'll start talking about something else. And it's like 15, 20 minutes later. Oh, no, bye. Yeah. And we just have to just hang up. Like, girl, bye now. I'm about to go.
Yes, this conversation could, evolve into other things. But ladies, thank you so much. Remember, keep that question with you. You should always be evaluating your friendships. You should always be evaluating your friendships just to make sure, do a heart check with the girls in your life. I need to make sure, we're still on the same page and we're still moving in the same direction with this relationship.
Yeah.
Because,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, you could be trying to accomplish some things, but the people that you're connected to can be keeping you from reaching your full potential that God has designed for you to reach. And you, as soon as
don't you be preaching here at the end of the show.
I'm trying not to.
Preacher, don't you be preaching here.
Yeah, as soon as you cut that relationship off, you would be surprised at how fast you get to where you were supposed to be all along. Y'all, I'm getting ready to go. I'm not going to say anything else.
Preacher's starting to preach now.
Thank you guys so much for joining. This has been amazing. We are a whole 30 minutes over time, but I think this is time well spent. Thank you. Please stay connected. Please follow Singlesations page on Facebook Live to keep it into contact with everything that we're doing. Any suggestions that you have, any topics you guys want me to cover, please. This thing has really stretched me a lot. Because for those of you who know me, I really don't like to be in the front, but this is something that I know that God has called me to do in the season that he has called me to do it. And as long as he keeps breathing on it, I'm going to keep doing it. So I love you ladies so much. Thank you guys for your support. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.